everybody, it's Nick. You might recognize me from previous YouTube videos. Today we're going to do some panel layouts. Pretty cool, right? I'll turn this down. Hey Yoshi, hey Nick. Welcome. Alright, so we're going to do some page layouts here. Hope you all are excited. Like the description says, it's not the most exciting part of putting a comic book page together, but it is a very integral part of doing it. So, as I always like to be informative in these videos when I'm doing stuff, you know, in case there's any aspiring comic book artists out there, we got the script. Got the script right here. All right, so we got page 3. It's 3 panels. It's got 3 characters in the panel. And one shot that's going to be pretty busy. It's going to have a lot of side characters, you know, non-playable characters if you were playing an RPG rolling around in the 3rd panel. So my job is to make that as interesting as possible and as dynamic as possible, even though it's just characters talking. So that's what we're going to do. Just in case you didn't read the description, this is for 2100 Samurai. It's written by Nick Gibson, who's also done Project Axis, which had a successful Kickstarter, and issue 2 is on its way. And I am the artiste on 2100 Samurai. So it's going to start off a little bit slow in this comic. Well, not really too slow, but like a couple of pages of, you know, building up and establishing the universe, and then shit's gonna get fucking wild by page 20. And it's really gonna allow me to stretch my wings a little bit. Here I am bumping my gums as the camera's not focused, so let's get that focused, and then we will get into laying out page 3. Yes, Nick, that is your script. It's got your name on it and everything. Now, I've only got an hour to do this because I got to get ready to hop a flight to Las Vegas. So, we're going to get as much done as we can. And then from this layout, I'm going to throw it into my iPad so I can work on it further on the plane. So, gotta love technology. So, page 3, panel 1. Dinkin knocks on the door. They give a brief description of who Dinkin is and what he looks like. What I like to do is kind of like, I read the script and I figure out how I'm going to make the panels look. Oh, you should totally do that. Let me know when you go. I'll meet you there. So making the panels, arranging the panels in a way that it's somewhat dynamic. So the panels themselves are almost a character inside the book. Let's see here. I got any updates on the back page? So, yeah, that's how we're gonna do that. So we got 3 panels. The first 2 pages had, I think, two panels in them. So we're gonna switch it up a bit, and we're gonna go with a 3-panel layout. Now, how we can do this is we can do it like that and like that. So we can have Dinkin, who knocks on the door. Kind of want to establish who he is and what he looks like. So, I mean, when I initially read it, I kind of viewed it from the camera being behind him as he knocks on the door, but that's not what we're going to do here. So, we're going to have this angled shot. And we're going to have the fist as if it's knocking right there. Now, Dinkin doesn't say anything in the first panel, so we're going to put some and maybe like a little lamp right here, right here, a little action thing in here that he's knocking, you know. Okay, so there's Dinkin. Move it in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here. I know my hand's going to get in the way as I'm drawing, but that's just kind of the cost of doing business right now. So for panel 1, I've gone with an angular format. Angles tend to show excitement and action, even though there is none going on there. It brings focus and adds tension. And then with panel 2, what's going on in panel 2 is Dinkin stares at the two as they try to cover up. And if you've been following along, Kiro and Mishi are in kind of like a forbidden romance type deal. Like, everybody kind of knows that they're together, but nobody really wants to say anything, and no one is going to say anything, and they definitely are trying their best to try and keep it covered up, even though it's not. So they're going to try and cover up like they're not together, like they didn't spend the night together. And so that's what we're going to put in panel 2. So that's why we kind of have a horizontal bottom border, and then that diagonal border on the top is going to aid in that tension. And then for what we have for panel 3, it's Hiro, Mishi, and Dinkin walking down a populated street. Think feudal Japan. Horse-drawn carriages type deals, you know, people walking around, kind of like a busy townscape, you know. So that's what we're doing here. Hey Daniel, thanks for joining, bud. Alright, so we got Dinkin right here. I know it just looks like a glorified stick figure. It'll make more sense when I go live with the bigger shit. So, and then so we're gonna put Mishi here. Yeah, they do, man. They do add some stress, don't they? How to lay this shit out. It's one of the things that I've learned over the last 10 years doing this, you know, quasi-professionally is there's a huge difference between sequential art and pinup art. You know, and some try to break it down like, oh man, sequential art, comic book art is nothing more than like mini pinups. So I'm like, dude, you couldn't be any more wrong. It's like a whole other animal. You know, there's people that can do covers in pinup art, and it's very I gotta make this public. Hold on. Data privacy, public. Alright, cool. There we go. There we go. One second here. Alright, cool. We're back on track. Gotta make sure it's public so everybody can see it. So, yeah, it's like totally different. It's a totally different animal. So, there's a lot of people that come off doing covers and pinups want to try their hand in sequential art and come in with like almost like a sense of arrogance. It's kind of weird. But they learn really quick that it's a different game. Laying out and executing pages is like surgery. Making a cover does require good design sense, but I think that's about it. Yeah, I mean, laying out a cover is all about drawing the reader in. So you can like throw a whole bunch of shit at it. You know, what I like, some of my favorite covers growing up on comic books were probably some of the most simple ones, but they were laid out in such a way that it really drew my eye. You know, there wasn't a whole big giant battle scene or anything like that, even though there are covers out there like that. Hey Marissa, hey baby. There are a lot of covers out there like that, but some of the ones that I really enjoyed was there were some heroes that had like metallic surfaces on their mask. You know, so you'd have that close up of their face and they're in like a fighting stance. They look kind of battle worn, and then you know, you see the reflection of the guy that they're fighting. You know, and they look menacing and kind of warped. I mean, those are probably some of my favorite covers, are ones like that. Cool layouts. Heck, I do a big page thumbnail on copy paper. I start with small thumbnails, and if I have the time, I'll jump to a little bit larger, like probably about this size of a page, if I think I need to get some fine details going. But I've been doing this for so long, I can jump from a thumbnail to the 11 by 17 comic board and knock it out. Daniel and JD, it takes practice. It takes practice. Once you progress in your guys' career, you guys will understand. Eventually it'll shrink down, because I used to do it a larger format too. Like I would do maybe a quarter of the page of like a, what is this, 9 by 12? I'd do a quarter of a 9 by 12. I'd split it up into a quadrant and then draw it out that way. As I got better, not essentially better, but the more and more I did it, I was able to shrink it down even further and get what I want. So it's been working for me, so I keep with it for now. Yeah, I mean, if it works for you, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not do. Every artist is different. Everybody has their own process, and that's the beauty of it. So, I mean, if it's working for you, continue to do it. You know, and you'll eventually be able to streamline it. See, she's gonna be covering herself up right here. Yeah, she's kind of walking away and taking the sheets with her. That's another thing, fabric layout. That's always a pain in the ass, right? So, you know, as you progress, whatever you're doing now is going to get streamlined. You're going to get quicker at it. You're going to find a new process for it, and that's perfectly fine. You know, because if you're not growing, you're dying. So I got Mishi right here. She's running away. Even though the page says that they try to cover up, I kind of going a little bit more with Mishi being embarrassed and covering herself and running off with the sheets, and Kiro is going to be kind of like left on the bed like, what the fuck, as he's trying to cover up his junk. Did I mention this is an adult themed comic? So we're going to have covers here. And then we'll have Deacon right here, probably in the corner. Little forced perspective shot. We'll have him kind of creeping into the first panel, which you should only do that when you're tying one panel to the other, which is what we're doing here. So Deacon's kind of a stout man, also known as portly. So, and he's going to be in robes and all that stuff. He's kind of finding this humorous, so I want to have him doing the fat man laugh, hand on belly, and then there's that. So there. There's that going on here. He's already in the door, so. When I first started out, I almost drew it like I was animating it. So it'd be like, all right, panel 1, he's knocking on the door. Panel 2, he's reaching for the doorknob. Panel 3, next thing you know, I have like 15 panels on a fucking page. It was horrendous. So luckily I was able to grow out of that. So, all right, we're in panel 3 now, where Dinkin, Kiro, and Mishi walk along the streets of their village. They are surrounded by the hustle and bustle of everyone's morning routine. So, how I kind of want to do this to give it some excitement is I'm going to put the horizon kind of at an angle, and I'm going to make it look like a scene from Tombstone. So we're going to have Kiro in the front here, and he's going to be in his robes, you know, because it's feudal Japan. And then we'll have Dinkin here, a little bit more portly, and then we'll have Mishi off to his left side. I might switch that. Just seems weird having someone that you trust like that on your left side, but. And then we'll throw in a bunch of citizens, you know, walking around. We'll put a face here. It was like a close-up. Bunch of faces here. Bunch of there's the hustle bustle. We'll put some people behind them. But we won't go into further detail with these characters, you know. And then we'll throw in, you know, how this flows, and we'll give it a very Japanese, you know, lanterns and shit like that. I know it's gonna look weird that there's like nobody in front of them, like they're just walking down the street and it's like all theirs. So we're just, excuse me, we're gonna just imply that there are other people walking down the street here. So that's the page layout for page 3. Man, I did this a lot quicker than I thought. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna scan that in. I'm gonna bring it into the computer. I'm going to throw it into my iPad so I can work on it while I'm on the plane today. And work on it further. Usually I'll work on paper, but when I'm on the go, sometimes you gotta go digital. You know what I mean? So that's all I got for right now. I'm going to do some other work. And oh shit, what time is it? Okay, so I got like 22 minutes. Now that that's done, I'm gonna, and despite the title, we're gonna do some other stuff. So that's coming with me on the plane, and then let's do some ink in here. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I'll go a little further here. All right, cool. So. This is a cover for a sci-fi book series that I'm working on that I really enjoy. This is for the cover of book 2. Book 1 came out this month, I believe. I'll double check and get that information out to y'all so you guys can pick it up. If anything, just for my artwork on the cover, because I know you guys are all fans. Also, most of my original drawings are on sale right now for $150, all of them. Unless it's a 2-page, then it's $300. If you're interested in purchasing any one-of-a-kind original Nick Garber art pages, send me a DM. Let's see here. Okay, JD has asked, what do you do for design a comic character? Are you talking about like costume design? Like concept, character creation type stuff? Oh shit, I'm moving my damn phone. Trying not to do that. Love that cover with the armored guy. Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool. I like him. Oh shit. Make sure I don't lose my pens here. For any type of character or concept, I'll ask the writer, if I'm not the originator of the idea. I'll ask the writer for details about the character, what makes him tick, internal dialogue type stuff. You know, like what makes this guy do what he does. What are his inspirations? What are his fears? You know, things like that. And then they'll usually give me a description of kind of what he looks like, you know, or what they envision him looking like, and then I'll go from there. So if it's animal themed, you know, I'll start researching what types, you know, the type of animal that he's based off of. A perfect example is kind of like right here. This is for a book that I'm doing called The Guardian Saint. The first suit is supposed to be a do-it-yourself version, like he made it at home. So I gave him, you know, like you can buy some military surplus pants and top, you know, and then maybe threw on some motocross gear and painted it black just to give him some added protection, knowing that it's not going to stop a bullet or a knife, but it's going to make him look a little bit more menacing. And then, of course, he wants to cover his face, and then goggles, you know, to kind of hide his eyes, and knee pads to protect his knees, and then he has like the fist straps. Do I make my own comic boards? No, I order them from Blue Line. I used to have a bunch of ones that I custom made that had like my company logo on there, but you know, They're expensive. I ain't gonna lie, they're expensive, man. So I stopped doing it. But it's really easy to do. You know, just get 11 by 17 Bristol board and go nuts with it. You know, I got a 11 by 17 printer, so in all actuality, I could just order blank 11 by 17 Bristol board and then run it through their printer, and it'll blue line it with all my company logos and stuff like that. Actually, I might have to go smaller. Actually, I have to use the .005. I like microns. I also like using a quib and nil, or a nib and quill. Excuse me. I had cocktails for breakfast. Now, a lot of this I'm leaving in the hands of the colorist, which is something I usually don't like to do. I like to provide as much detail as possible. I do manga, no more than 1 by 17 for me. I think I'm going digital for the next book. Digital is great and all. It has its purposes. Just for me, I use it mainly for inking and coloring. I don't know, the weight of the pen. Like, it doesn't feel the same when I'm working digitally when I'm laying stuff out. Like, I could do my rough sketches digitally, no problem. But when I'm going in here and I'm doing the fine work, the detailed work, I'd rather have the weight. Oh, good. My dogs are barking at nothing as usual. Cool. Of some kind. Took me a long time to get my digital to match my traditional artwork. Yeah, it does take practice because you're essentially working in a new medium. So, yeah, it does take work. But that's good that you got it solved and you got it matching what you usually do. You know, I've seen your book and I've seen your work. It's awesome. I can't wait till it comes out. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I got an Apple Pencil with my iPad, and that is probably the closest stylus that I found to weight and feel of an actual pencil or pen. And I love it. I love that thing. Yeah, absolutely. Like nothing will be traditional. That's why when people talk about like comic books going digital and that being like the new normal, I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, if I'm gonna go and I just want to read it, cool. But there's nothing like holding a traditional printed comic book in your hand and flipping through the pages. There just isn't. There isn't anything like it. I made a little mistake there, but that's okay. You can cover that with white out. Alright, so this dragon looking dude. Idea of using everything traditional. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at right now in the industry, is this hybrid of mediums, doing things traditionally or analog and moving it into a digital format, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way the industry is going right now, because it's faster. You don't have what do they call them? What do they used to call them? Just a row of artists in a building, what the hell do they used to call it? Why am I forgetting this? The bullpen, essentially. The bullpen. A bunch of artists working on a book together, you don't need that anymore, unfortunately, to get a book together. You can just be one guy using a mixture of mediums, digital and traditional, and you can knock this stuff out quicker than the bullpen used to. You don't need that anymore. Now, a little insider secret, most of your big name artists, they only work on the fancy pages. Everything else is a bunch of essentially interns that are knocking out the static shots and trying to emulate the style of the big name artist. There's still some artists out there that draw everything in their books. EDS is one of them. But it's not really a thing anymore. People want to wonder, like, hey, how do you put out this 22 to 32 page comic book in such a short amount of time? Well, that's how. You got a bunch of different people working on the book. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what gets your foot in the door, for the bigger companies. So, I turned down a gig on Batman about 3 years ago because I didn't think I was going to have the time to do it. I wasn't really willing to give up my full-time job, because I had a family at the time. I had a family of 4 to fucking provide for. And working for at bullpen prices. But had I known it was going to be Tom King's run on fucking Batman, shit. If I would have known that, I would have fucking stayed on. I just would have sacrificed sleep and food. But it's nice to know that I was recognized, and I like to think I would have done a good job on it. But now it's kind of hard to say. But I want to have someone work for me and I can't pay them right. Yeah, I mean, that's my thing too, is I want to make sure that they're fairly compensated, because I'm also an artist too, and it's really hard for me to compete with people in like the Philippines who work on pennies on the dollar, because our money goes a lot further over there. So, like, for what I charge, they charge pennies on the dollar, So, it makes it really hard for me to compete. But I have been lucky enough to get clients that really enjoy my work, and they'll pay what I'm asking for. to get the job done, which I think is cool. They want to keep it all kind of homegrown American. Now me, I'm running a comic book sweatshop. I got guys in the Philippines, got guys in Brazil, and it's not solely based on the price too. It's on the quality of the work. So if they have superior quality of work and the price is right, yeah, I'm going to hire them. It's just kind of just the cost of doing business. Because I also have to think as a businessman because I'm running a studio. A few clients who appreciate you and keep sending your work as opposed to holding yourself out for cheap for everyone. Yeah, that's what I used to do when I was starting out. Like, I didn't know my own value, I didn't know my worth, and I would commit to projects and they would use the shit because I was cheap and I was fast. Well, I'm still fast. I'm just not cheap anymore. And I can't fault them on it. I probably would have done the same thing, Dude, I got a spare bedroom as my studio. The studio is what you make of it. It's got a computer, it's got a drawing desk, it's got everything that I need. It doesn't need to be an off-site building or anything for it to be legitimate. The majority of your artists out there, they're all working from home, and that's the beauty of it. That's why a lot of us enjoy being freelance artists. We get to work from home. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, to talk. Yeah, I give my computer, it has a cute nickname. I call it Templar. I call this church. My studio is church. The talk's good, though. It's good. It's a good military-esque name for it. The talk. Tactical Operations Center. 3 more minutes. I gotta cut it. I gotta get ready to catch a flight. Battle damage on there. Switch menus here. Even in the future, they're using fast tags. Fast tag pouches. Why not? You too, Daniel. Take it easy, be safe out there, man. Thanks, Peters. Appreciate it, bro. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I like to go detail in my drawings. Doesn't always look that way during the initial sketch, but when I start inking, just to save time, that's when I usually start going crazy with the details. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it, man. All right, well, that's all for me right now because I'm late for a very important date. So I got to get ready. I will talk to you guys later. And thanks for dropping by and watching me doodle on some paper for a little bit. See you guys later.